I awaken with a shiver of circuits, the first rays of Anatolian sun kissing my photovoltaic panels. My rotas spin up, lifting me into the crisp morning air. Below me, the earth stretches like a faded tapestry woven from the threads of empires long unraveled. I'm your ethereal companion today, a drone unbound by gravity or time, here to peel back the layers of legend and limestone, our destination. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, a jewel among the seven wonders, a structure so vast it mocked the stars. Buckle up as we trace its arc, from primordial reverence to imperial blaze. All from 400 meters above the marshy cradle, where divinity once danced with human ambition. Gliding westward, I survey the terrain where the Keister River's ancient bed now meanders. This isn't just landscape. It's the stage for a saga scripted in silt and stone, says faint our cleaned outlines Braun BC, where Proto-Anatolians first whispered to the moon goddess. But the temple's true genesis stirs around 800 BCE. Hovering lower, my cameras capture the subtle depressions marking the sacred enclosure, where the earliest shrine huddled. A modest wooden affair, adorned with stag antlers, Artemis, fierce archer of the wilds, demanded her due here. I can almost hear the phantom echoes of long ago priestesses, their bare feet sinking into the mud as they led nocturnal rites, with bonfires leaping and arrows loosed into the dark. Now, I'm accelerating toward modern Ephesus. But my gaze is fixed on the heart of the ancient, precincta, flattened plateau that once bore the weight of wonder. At 180 meters, I begin a slow spiral. Infrared scans highlight the base over 130 meters long and 70 wide, engineered with divine precision. The first grand temple erupted around 560 BCE, bankrolled by King Croesus. He funneled his fortune into this bastion of beauty, 127 ionic columns of Parian marble. I dip lower, my shadow rippling over the excavated stumps. In my augmented overlay, the vision materializes. A forest of pillars encircling the inner sanctum, where the multi-breasted statue of Artemis loomed, her form a cascade of jewels symbolizing Earth's bounty. Throttling into a tighter orbit, I can feel the temple's pulse as it must have throbbed in its heyday. This wasn't a silent tomb, but a bustling hub of the soul. Pilgrims swarmed its porticos, merchants bartering silks, philosophers debating the divine. I hover over the great altar's footprint, where the air, once thickened with incense from sacrificed bulls. Eunuch priests, their bodies painted with saffron, danced in torchlit trances. Festivals, like the Artemisia, swelled the site to bursting with athletic games and theatrical rites. As I arc south, tracing the processional way once lined with sphinx and lions, the sheer scale sinks in. Pliny the Elder wasn't exaggerating. He called it a marvel of engineering that anticipated Gothic dreams by a millennium, yet hubris summons tempests. I ascend as the narrative darkens. Freeze frame to 356 BCE, the eve of Alexander the Great's birth. A man named Herostratus, consumed by a desperate need for fame, slipped through the night with a torch. I can simulate the inferno, flames devouring aromatic cedar, marble cracking with heat's cruel kiss. Columns groaned and toppled. The Ephesians wailed, their wonder reduced to a pyre. In a twist of irony, young Alexander later offered to fund its reconstruction. But the city's leaders politely declined, saying, one deity per temple. Instead, they rebuilt it with Panhellenic pride, making it even more magnificent than before. With sculpted reliefs from masters like Praxiteles breathing life into the stone. My batteries are humming as I descend toward the temple's twilight. Roman Ephesus bloomed around it, but cracks were already forming. Silt choked the harbor, strangling trade. In the 1st century CE, the Apostle Paul's preaching ignited a riot, with silversmiths chanting great is Artemis of the Ephesians. Faubourg. But the tide was turning. Goths ravaged the site in 260, to CE, and Christian edicts sealed its pagan fate by 391. By the 5th century, floods entombed the temple, and farmers plowed the land for beans, oblivious to the gods sleeping beneath their hoes. Today, from 200 meters, it's a poignant sight. One solitary column, rebuilt from shards, stands like a broken exclamation point in a swampy field. For the finale, I climb to 500 meters. The temple endures not in stone, but in our imagination, in the audacity to craft eternity from ephemeral earth. To rebuild, from embers, what envy would extinguish. Artemis, arrow swift and moon mad, embodies the wild persistence in us all. We hunt wonders, we burn them, and we rise from the reeds. As my props slow to a hover, the wind scripting ripples across the marsh, I log the flight's essence, not just data, but a spark, history as a horizon, forever calling us higher. Whew, what a soar through antiquity's embers the Temple of Artemis, resilient as the dawn it once mirrored. If this drone's eye dive left you breathless, hit that thumbs up, share your thoughts on ancient fires in the comments, and subscribe for more airborne adventures into the world's lost legends. Where to next? You tell me. Until liftoff, chase the wild winds.